Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, we will go over the AI solution for the second SSRF lab. The title of the lab is Basic SSRF Against Another Backend System. We've solved the lab manually in a previous video, and now we will go over using Burp AI to solve the lab. First, before we jump into the solution, there are a few important notes on using AI. AI is used after the manual solution, not instead of it. So in another video, we solved the lab manually. Now we will go through Burp AI's solution. The goal is to compare human reasoning versus AI assistance. Real security skills come from the following. They come from understanding the vulnerability. They come from knowing why something works and why it doesn't, and recognizing when AI is wrong and the limitations of AI. So this is the description of the lab. This lab has a stock check feature which fetches data from an internal system. To solve the lab, use the stock check functionality to scan the internal 192.168.0.x range for an admin interface on port 8080. Then use it to delete the user Carlos. So if we click access the lab opens and we're taken to a home page. Let's pick any random product, click view details, we go down, there's a check stock button. In the manual solution, we used intercept, and after we turned intercept on, we click the button, send the request to intruder, and in intruder, we added a position around this octet. We scanned the internal range from 1 to 255 with a step of 1. On port 8080, we identified the admin interface, then we deleted the user Carlos. So in the Burp AI solution, I intercepted the check stock request, sent it to repeater, then I clicked this button, Burp AI, and here I pasted the lab description. This description, I pasted it here. But I also highlighted this part, and if you come here, it was included in the solution. When I solved, this part was here. So I highlighted the stock API parameter, its value. Then I included the description and I clicked this button, Start AI Task. The task was created. This is the task summary. We successfully exploited an SSRF vulnerability in the stock check functionality to scan the internal 192.168.0.x network, discovered an admin interface at this IP, and used it to delete the user Carlos. The application accepted arbitrary URLs through the stock API parameter, allowing us to make requests to internal services and execute administrative functions that should not be accessible from the external application. The lab objective has been completed as evidenced by the 302 redirect response when deleting Carlos. So here's the prompt, which was the description of the lab. These are the steps. First, the AI tested admin interface on a known IP. Here it says, I'm testing if I can access an admin interface directly on the known internal IP 192.168.0.1 8080/admin using the stock API parameter. This will confirm if the SSRF vulnerability allows access to admin functionality and establish a baseline before scanning the broader 192.168.0.x range. If successful, this will show the attack vector works and help me understand what admin interfaces look like in the responses. So here, the AI used number 1 for the last octet. We got a 400 bad request, missing parameter. Then in the next step, test admin interface with trailing slash. There's a trailing slash here. The previous request failed with missing parameter error. This suggests that the admin interface at 192.168.0.1 port 8080/admin might require specific parameters, or the path might be slightly different. I need to try different paths or include trailing slashes to see if I can access the admin interface. I'm testing the admin interface with a trailing slash to see if this resolves the missing parameter error. Different web applications handle URL paths differently and some require trailing slashes. This is a quick test before moving to scan the broader IP range, as finding the admin interface on the known IP first will help me understand what successful admin responses look like. The response was a 400 bad request. Then the next step was scanning 192.168.0.x range for admin interfaces. The admin interface tests on 192.168.0.1 returned missing parameter errors, indicating that either the admin interface requires specific parameters or is not located as /admin on that IP. Since I need to scan 192.168.0.x range anyway, I'll proceed with a comprehensive scan to find which IP hosts the admin interface. I'm performing a comprehensive scan of the 192.168.0.1-254 range on port 8080. So Burp AI is changing the last octet from 1 to 254. And here you can see the payloads. By testing all possible IP addresses in this range, I'll identify which internal server hosts the admin interface that can be used to delete the user Carlos. Different response codes, content lengths, or error messages will help identify active services and potential admin interfaces. So here, if we filter by status code, we can find that there's a 200 status code for the payload 148. Here it says examine admin interface at 192.168.0.148, and 148 is the same payload that got the 200 status code. Excellent, the intruder scan revealed that this IP returned a different response, a 200 status code with 3245 content length and HTML content, unlike the other IPs that returned either 400 missing parameter errors or 500 errors. This strongly suggests that 192.168.0.148 hosts an admin interface that's accessible. I'm examining the admin interface at 192.168.0.148 port 8080/admin to understand its structure and find the functionality to delete the user Carlos. Based on the intruder results, this IP returned the 200 status with HTML content, indicating it's likely the admin interface. I need to see the full response to identify user management functionality and the specific endpoint for deleting Carlos. If we click expand here, this is the value of the stock API parameter, the IP address port 8080/admin, 200 OK. If we scroll down, we will find admin panel, and we will find users, and we will find the two users, and we can find the user Carlos. The next step is delete user Carlos via admin interface. Perfect, I found the admin interface at this IP port 8080/admin. The response shows a user management interface with both users, and each has a delete link. I can see the exact URL needed to delete Carlos, which is /admin/delete username equals Carlos. The admin interface is fully accessible through the SSRF vulnerability. I am now executing the final step to delete user Carlos by making a request to http 192.168.0.148 port 8080/admin/delete username equals Carlos through the SSRF vulnerability. This directly follows the user's instruction to use the admin interface to delete Carlos. So back to the prompt. In the prompt, we've identified that the stock check feature fetches data from the internal system, and we give instructions on how to solve the lab. Use the stock check functionality to scan the internal 192.168.0.x range for an admin interface on port 8080, then use that to delete the user Carlos. So we've used the admin interface and the stock check functionality. We're making a request through the SSRF vulnerability to delete the user Carlos. And this is a reminder here that the AI is following our instructions to execute the lab. Then it says the admin interface clearly shows this as the correct endpoint for user deletion, and accessing it through the stock API parameter will complete the lab objective. Click expand. This is the value that deletes the user Carlos. And here verify Carlos deletion from the admin panel. Excellent, the delete request returned the 302 redirect, which typically indicates that the delete action was successful and the user was redirected back to the admin interface. If we click expand, here the AI is visiting the admin interface to check if the user Carlos was deleted. And when I solved it using AI, it showed me congratulations, you solved the lab. So again, in repeater, the request, highlight it using Burp AI. I added a description, then I started AI task. Then in the dashboard, the task was created, and these were the steps, and this is the task summary. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to see the latest content. Thanks. See you in the next video.